Our main course today is Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, followed of course by a very explosive Alcremie dessert. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to be exploring what is probably the best new card out of Chilling Reign. If you haven't already seen other creators working with it, then you probably need to watch more Pokemon on YouTube because everyone's looked at this card already. It is Shadow Rider VMAX. Let's jump across to PTCGO and check out the list we're going to be working with today. So here is the deck list that we're going to be working with. If you'd like to copy it into PTCGO, it is down in the description. Whilst you're there, leave a like. That would be fantastic. Let's talk about this. A fantastic new card from Chilling Reign. The best card from the set. It is Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX with 320 HP. This Psychic VMAX is probably one of the best attackers and support Pokemon that we've seen in quite a long time. It's got a very, very strong ability called Underworld Door, which allows you to attach a Psychic Energy to one of your benched Psychic Pokemon, and if you do, you then draw 2 cards, so very reminiscent of cards like Malamar and Zoroark GX from the past. And then we also have Max Geist for 3 colorless energy. We deal 10 damage plus 30 more for every Psychic Energy that we have in the field of play. That means that we can get a ton of damage out with our Calyrex VMAX if we manage to get a ton of energy in play. And I'll tell you right now, one Pokemon that really benefits from that is a VMAX that we've not seen a lot of recently, which is Alcremie VMAX. This card has always been a really strong potential attacker, but it's needed some help to get that acceleration going. G-Max Whisk is the attack that we're looking at first. For 2 Psychic, we deal 60 damage times the amount of energy that we discard from our Pokemon in play. So what we can do is we can accelerate a ton of energy with Calyrex VMAX, and then we can use our Alcremie to discard all of those energies and take a big one-shot on anything that we like. The way that we're going to try and do this is we're going to try and build up knockouts in the early game with Calyrex VMAX, maybe half hit a VMAX, or take a couple of knockouts on Crobats and Dedennes, and then take our last prizes with Alcremie VMAX to try and get those last few prizes. Perfect combination of cards. I really, really like this deck. It's obviously very similar to other decks that are floating around at the moment, but I'll tell you what, it's a lot of fun. We're going to jump straight into some games. Like, what's the point of waiting around? Alrighty, it's go time. We've got an Alcremie in the active, which is good, but we don't have... Oh, I was about to say, we don't have a way to search out any other Pokemon. We've got a Fog Crystal. Let's play down the Shadow Rider Calyrex. We've got the VMAX in our hand. We've got some energy as well, so we'll attach to the Alcremie, and then we'll pass. So, not an ideal first turn, but we do have all the pieces that we need to get moving later. Now, it is important to note that the VMAX only accelerates energy to benched Pokemon, so we may need to... What is going on out there? I just heard a scratching on the door. I think my cat's trying to get into a room. I'm not sure about that. I was about to say we may need to move our Calyrex into the active, but our opponent has elected to do that for us, which is very kind of them, the Pokemon Catcher. And it looks like we're going up against an ADP Zacian deck. Now, this is going to be very interesting, because we both struggle against, but also should have a relatively easy time against ADP. First of all, we can force our opponent to knock out 2 VMAXs, which ADP doesn't like to do, because we don't have to play down any of our Dedennes or Crobats if we don't want to. But our main attacker, Alcremie VMAX, is weak to metal, which means that Zacian is going to be able to easily take a one-shot for 4 prizes. So the fact that we don't have those support Pokemon might not even really matter. We just need to kind of, we need to feel this one out as we go, to be honest. And it's kind of awkward here because now we might just want to power up the Calyrex. We'll wait and see what our opponent ends up doing here, because it's not a, not an ideal situation to be in. They've got an energy switch. They're going to move to the ADP. Now they're just looking for a water energy to try and get that GX attack off. And if they do, then we could be in some genuine trouble. Now, I have seen quite a lot of ADP lists playing some new cards, like the Horn and Peony, which are very good cards for this deck. I will cover that later, but I know that lots of people have ADP PTSD, so I'm not necessarily going to go straight in with ADP. It is definitely one of the top 5 decks, in my opinion, at the moment. And if you'd like to see what my top 5 decks are, and comment down below, let me know that you want to see that video. Alright, so we've actually done alright here. We can grab ourselves our Alcremie VMAX, which I am going to use regardless of that Zacian. It will put some pressure on us, however. But I like the idea of having it. I'm going to Underworld Door to it, just to give us a couple of extra cards to work with. And we found a Quick Ball and a Research. I mean, we had a Quick Ball before, but let's discard the Energy, and I'm going to grab another Calyrex here. Now, we either switch into the Alcremie and then use our thing. Actually, we can switch into the V here, because I don't really mind if we lose that. They're still likely to GX. I could have switched into the Alcremie, but I don't want to give my opponent 3 free prizes. So we're just going to leave it at that. We're just gonna pass there. We've got some energy. We've got some supporters. So it's not that bad. We might potentially be able to knock out the Zacian next turn if we'd like to. Unless, of course, that Alcremie gets bossed up. But I suspect that our opponent is going to want to GX this turn, because that is one thing that ADP players sometimes do, is they fail to capitalize on a strong start like this, because they attempt to get the GX attack off when, frankly, they don't need to. So if our opponent can find a switch and a gust, they could have knocked out the Alcremie, but it looks like they're going for Guzma and Hala. They may elect to go for a Great Catcher here, but it looks like it's going to be a no. My hunch was right. They're going to go for the GX attack, which in itself is not a bad thing, but it is obviously it's a bit of a risk, let's say. They could potentially have just taken 3 prizes and put me in a really awkward position there, but well, they didn't, so it's fine. They didn't, so it's fine. Alright, so here is the question. They have altered creation. What are we going to do? So we can, if we want, gust up the Zacian, but we might want to instead make sure that our board is a little bit better. I'm going to do that. I'm going to research instead of gusting the Zacian. It's a gamble. I really don't know about this, but we're going to give it a crack. I want to set up more attackers so that we can get a little bit more going. We might be able to knock out the ADP with our Alcremie here if we'd like to, but that is going to be a little bit rough. We'll attach to the benched Calyrex and see what we come up with. I think we're going to retreat. No, actually, no. I think we're definitely going to retreat here. It's just a matter of which attacker we go into. I think we're going to go for the Max Geist. It feels a little bit safer. I've kind of I've done the classic half and half, the classic safe play that leaves my opponent in a really strong position. What I should have done is I should have gusted up the Zacian with the Alcremie and knocked it out, and then put some pressure on my opponent that way. So, not optimal play, but that's okay. We'll see the Alcremie at some point, I'm sure. It's just now my opponent's going to be able to hit into me. They're going to be charging up another Zacian, and they have a research as well. So, yeah, possibly incorrect. Because the other thing as well, if I'd have gusted out the Zacian, is that I would have been able to attack twice and win the game. Now I need to attack 3 times to win the game, which is going to give my opponent the momentum, which is unfortunate. But that's okay, we can't all be perfect. Alright, now what do we do? Now what? Let's keep drawing cards. We're going to Underworld Dawn. We're going to keep accelerating. I like the idea of getting a ton of energy into play, just because it means that our Calyrexes are going to be able to attack. We can Energy Recycler 3 energies back in, and then my gut feeling is that we probably go for a Marnie here. Research is fine. I just hate this so much. I've just left myself so far behind. It's such an awkward position to be in. Alright, so Underworld Door, we're going to be able to get a fresh Calyrex here, which means that our opponent will have to have Gust to get a knockout, but our opponent wants to Gust anyway. We've got another Calyrex. We can retreat. We've got the Crobat in hand. We don't need to play that. They don't really have the need to Mawile at this point. Whether or not new versions of ADP are even playing Mawile is another question. Let's just Fog Crystal. We'll just grab the Alcremie out of the deck. Actually, no, we've only got 1 energy left. Let's grab Cresselia instead. And then we can get rid of that Cresselia and grab the Alcremie. Let's just max... We're going to max Geist. We're going to hope that our opponent can't go boss, right? That's my hope. That is my hope. If ADP cannot use boss's orders twice in a row, then we might stand a chance. But I'm not feeling comfortable. Our opponent has an Oricorio and 4 cards left, so if they don't have a boss, then yeah, I'm gonna be very surprised if we actually get out of this one. But I will say, if we had have knocked out that first Zacian, then our opponent would have half hit into the Alcremie, and we might have been able to deal some more damage onto the bench in that turn if we had have been a bit more lucky off of the prizes. But there's a boss, so we will see the knockout. And it's actually going to be the Calyrex that's going to get knocked out. Fair enough too. Gets rid of more energy, which our opponent definitely wants to do. Although, to be fair, I think we're in a position where it doesn't really matter. Alright, let's have a think. Is there a way... They've got 2 bosses and a Pokemon catcher in the discard pile. 3 bosses. Okay. 3 bosses and a Pokemon catcher. Chances of our opponent playing 4 bosses and a Pokemon catcher? Slim. They may play another Pokemon catcher. But they might actually not be... It might not be impossible for us to win now. Okay, let's just keep cracking along here. We're going to accelerate a bunch of energy, because that's what this deck does really, really well. We're going to Underworld Door onto the Calyrex again. We don't have the reset stamp, which is unfortunate, so we'll just Marnie. I don't even know if this deck plays a reset stamp. It probably doesn't. If it does, I've got it in the discard pile. Or the prizes. I'm not sure. I think we're just going to max Geist. We could detach another energy, actually. Let's just do that. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. We've got the boss that we need for next turn anyway. Although, to be fair, it is all in our opponent's court. If they get the boss, then they win the game. So I just have to hope that they miss. And they're going to draw 4 cards here. So they're going to draw 50% of their remaining deck. Thanks to Oricorio. And they have a Pokemon catcher. So there you go. So they're going to win here. They're going to flip heads. They flip tails. Okay. I'd resigned myself for that one, but it's fine. They could still win, and they should still win, if they play the 4th boss. But with Pokemon Catcher, they might not play it. We might be able to cheese a win here, ladies and gentlemen. We may just be able to cheese a win. Looks like they're going to do some thinning. Well played. Looks like they don't have a boss. I will wait. I will wait and see. They have a reset stamp, which is not going to achieve anything. They have an escape rope, which is not going to achieve anything. Huh. Well played. I did not deserve to win that one. I was 100% expecting this recording to just fall by the wayside. Max Geist will take the knockout on the Zacian. We'll get our last prize, and there you go. We've managed to win there with our Calyrex by itself. We'll try and get a game where Alcremie does some damage. So I forgot to start recording the game. Whoops. But it's fine. I mean, it's not fine. I probably shouldn't have even started recording this game because we've got a Crobat in the active with an energy, and that's it. And this is something that I have been finding recently, and maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just the way that the RNG is working for me, but I'm finding that so many decks are really struggling to set up in Chilling Reign. Obviously, it is just random generation, so I could just be getting really unlucky, but maybe the decks that I'm playing are not as good as I think they are, because they are genuinely struggling to get started. But hey, that's okay. I wouldn't be saying that if I had the Baby V and the Baby VMAX instead of the 2 VMAXs in my hand, so that's okay. The Baby Vs, not the Baby VMAXs. What did I say? Am I going insane? Is this entertaining? Is this content? Are you watching content? I don't know. Concoction from our opponent. I believe that does something interesting. Looks like it discards 1 and draws 3. I'll double check that in a sec. Oh, Fog Crystal. Fog Crystal. Let's grab our Shadow Rider Calyrex. Obviously weak to dark, which is a concern. But we don't have a lot going for us, so we have to give it a crack. Concoction, discard a hand, draw 3. There you go. And we've done something. We've got an Alcremie. We have another Fog Crystal if we want it. I'm going to grab a Calyrex, because the more of those we have, the better. And then I'm going to pass. And we're going to pass on yet another relatively dead hand, at least this time. Evo Incense can find me a Calyrex, and the Energy can draw me a card, which would be fantastic. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Huh. Now, this is going to be rough, because obviously the dark typing is good against Calyrex, but from memory, Galarian Slowpoke VMAX does 10 damage and then poisons, and that poison does 12 damage. So I think, I'm not 100% certain, but I think we should be able to survive with our Calyrexes for at least a turn. It depends how many of those energies they get on there, because if they get 2, they'll be doing 50, so it'll be 100, they'll do 200 and 220, jeez. They'd knock out the baby V. That's brutal. Oh my goodness. Okay, so our slow start might come back to bite. How much is it going to deal to this Crobat, actually? 50, 120. If he gets a second energy, he knocks this Crobat out. Max Toxify for 170. 50 plus the 12 with the poison. Far out. Okay, we've topped another energy, so we are going to be able to 100% attack this turn. We've got the Calyrex, we can throw that down. Then we can accelerate, we'll Underworld Door to ourself. And, oh, we find another VMAX and a Calyrex V, which is cool. Neato Burrito. Let's retreat into the Alcremie. And then we'll gust out this one here, and we'll see if we can't just Adornment. We'll hold that energy in our hand for next turn. I think I said that I was going to accelerate to the Calyrex, but I didn't. That's okay. You know what I meant. Because the Adornment's going to get us enough energy that we can potentially take a knockout this turn. Plus, we don't get absolutely destroyed by a big Slowking destroying us. That would be rough. I don't want that to happen. Alright, well. This deck has not performed the way I expected it to. Maybe I'm just playing it really badly. Maybe that's the thing. Oh dear. But yeah, would you like me to talk about the top 5 decks in Chilling Reign? Because I think there's 5 pretty clear-cut best archetypes at the moment, which is really cool, and they're all relatively new, which is fantastic. Like, all of them change with Chilling Reign, which is, it's just so good. Alright, Bruno for 4. We are still staring down the barrel of a really bad turn here. We have to draw cards with the energy, which means we can't attack with the active. But they've passed, and we've got a switch, so we might be able to attack into this Slowking. Let's actually switch into the Crobat, because we can potentially knock this out, I think. We've got an Energy and an Energy Recycler. I think we just have to retreat and then blow up with our Alcremie here. We've got 2 in the bin already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is 6 enough? 320. 6 times 320 is enough. So we need to discard our entire board worth of energy. Is that worth doing for 3 prizes? Or do we just Adornment again? I think it's worth doing. Because if we discard all 6... I think it is all 6. 6, 12... Yeah, it's all 6. If we discard all 6... then we get the knockout, we give ourselves some prizes to take, which hopefully are supporters, and then we can Energy Recycler and start trying to fill our board back up again with the intention of knocking out the last Slowking with our Alcremie. But we'll wait and see, anything could happen. Especially in the world where we currently live, where I only have 1 Calyrex in play, which is kind of rough, frankly. It's kind of rough, but that's okay. It's gonna be fine. Don't stress. Everyone, don't stress. Scroll isn't gonna do too much. If they can they get a knockout? Can they ever get a knockout on my Calyrex this turn? I don't think they can. I think the most that they can do is 300. Which is a lot, but I think that's the most they can do. Because if they have the extra 2 energies on, well, they're going to go for it. If they have 2 extra energies on, then they can deal... They could have dealt 90, which would have gone to 180, plus the 12. So, you know. But we're in a good spot now. Okay, can we get enough in play? I don't think we can get enough this turn. I think this turn is a lost cause. We will grab another Alcremie, though. And then I will accelerate the energies back into the deck with Energy Recycler. And we will use Underworld Door. Actually, we should attach and then research. I think that's probably better. We can Underworld Door after we've researched. We can Underworld Door. Yes, we can. There's plenty of them. Let's just go here. We've got plenty of stuff to work with. So, drawing 2 cards will attach to the Alcremie. We will evolve into a second Calyrex. We will evolve and use Underworld Door. We'll attach to the VMAX. We've found another energy, which is fantastic, so we can go into another Underworld Door. I'm going to quick ball here. I'm just going to do some thinning so that I can get some cards out that I don't want to draw into off of this last Underworld Door. Because preferably I would prefer to get some more energy if I can. We will accelerate again. We're just going to spread these around. We don't get a switch as well, so that means our Calyrex in the active is dead. Whoops! Completely forgot that that's what I was supposed to be doing. There's only 1 switch in the discard pile as well. I probably could have done that a little bit better. Whoops! Doesn't matter. It's going to be fine. Next turn we should, theoretically, still be able to get enough energy in play to take a knockout on this Slowking. I cannot imagine that they're going to do anything other than just knock out our Crobat. The question is, do they knock it out with the Slowking, or do they do it with another attacker? Potentially the Houndour. Could be frightening. If they do knock out the Crobat with the Houndour, we're going to need to go looking for Boss, which is going to be tough. But we do have plenty of cards. We've got a Dedenne in our hand, we've got Research, we've got double Psychic Energy, so that shouldn't be too bad. Looks like our opponent has actually elected to evolve into the Houndour, so we shouldn't be too afraid now. I think they are going to be attacking with the Slowking. If they attack with the Slowking, then I think all we need to do is draw 1 energy, and we're going to win the game. Actually, no, they've already got 20 on them thanks to the Houndour, which means that 5 energy will do it. So 1 more attachment from us will get us across the line. Of course, I will be trying to attach 3 energy, because that's what you do with these kind of decks. You just slide a whole bunch of energy onto an Alcremie and then blow something up. That's the idea. We're cooking up big knockouts. It's the name of the video. It's the name of the video. I've gone insane. I need to stop. Also, thank you very much for the very warm reception in my last 2 videos. I appreciate it. Appreciate people coming past and having a watch. So thank you yet again. Boss's orders. Oh my god, okay. If we don't find another switch, I shall be very sad. It looks like they're going to go for the Max Toxify here. And give us 1 turn to find a switch. What are you going to do, bud? What are you going to do? Chill and play. What are we doing? Max Toxify. Okay, so now we need to find an energy, which we've got in our hand, and we need to find a switch. So as long as we draw into a switch, we should be fine. We've got 3 energies, so we're ready to accelerate. And we're going to attach as many as we can. And we're going to go looking for that switch. Now, let's thin. Let's be intelligent. Be smart, Mitch. Don't do dumb things. Don't lose this game being a moron. We find the switch, which is fantastic. We are going to, of course, attach the energy and then switch into our Alcremie. And now the game is over. Well played, mate. Well played. A cool deck as well. We'll just discard all of these energies here and deal an obnoxious amount of damage, which is great. 400 and something? Yeah, 420 damage with Alcremie. You can see how it works, right? Good one-shot potential at the end of games. I just feel like I didn't get very well set up in any of them. Alrighty, so there's the deck, but what's the grade? Is it worth picking up? Well, playability-wise, I'd say yes. It's not the best way to play Calyrex. Obviously, the Alcremie is pretty fun, but it's not necessarily the top tier archetype, but it is still super powerful, and you can beat pretty much anything with this deck. Consistency-wise, I'm going to be controversial with myself and say A, because this deck should be really consistent. Like, Underworld Door is an incredibly good ability, there's plenty of supporters, there's plenty of everything that you need to do well. I think we just got a little bit unlucky. I'm going to give it an A. You could definitely say that it's a B, though. Makes a lot of sense. Based on the evidence, you'd say it's a B, but I'm using my heart of hearts. Value-wise is a C. This is going to be controversial as well, because both of the VMAXs on the screen are quite expensive. When it comes to value, they're expensive, especially the Calyrex, but if you pick them up now, you will be able to play them for a long time. This card will remain a top tier card in the standard format, and it is only going to get more expensive, so now is probably the best time to try and pick them up if you can, but they're still quite expensive, so we'll give it a C. Finally, fun. Blowing things up is really fun. Like, GMAX Whisk is fantastic as an attack. Underworld Door is an exceptional ability. When this thing gets going, it is incredible. Hopefully I get a chance to show it off, maybe in a stream or something like that, where I just continually attach energy. There was one game which I played, the first game that I played with the deck, where I dealt 720 damage. I just didn't hit record, like an idiot. But that's okay, it happens. I'm giving the deck an A-. It's definitely top tier, it's definitely really, really good, but it's not the best version of this deck. Obviously, there are other ways to play it, but I will cover those down the track. A- is where we're leaving it for now. So a pretty good deck and a pretty good community of people, thank you very much. Appreciate you all coming past for this one, and thank you for being so supportive in my early Chilling Reign stuff. I am having a great time with this set. I'm looking forward to showing off some more top tier decks, as well as a couple of memes. We've got a couple of fun ones coming as well, so keep your eye out on the channel. Leave some feedback as well, because you're the type of people that are watching at the end that I want to hear from. What do you think of my new thumbnails? My wife and I had a little bit too much fun putting these things together, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thank you everyone for your support. Dadbot Azazel continuing to support at that crazy ascended tier, appreciate it. Fernando Yolo, Stephen Ty, Agent Abel, Austin, Josiah, Leaf Devour, Robsy, Brad, Chings, Brad, Justin, Crocotaku Gaming, and thank you very much to Drew, who has just jumped on board as a Royal Sableye, as well as all of these people over here who are Mega Sableyes. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Tell you what, I'll catch you next time for more. See ya. That was a weird exit. I didn't say the Sableyes.